Hello and welcome back everyone to the next episode on SAP Fiori Security cum Fiori Advanced Training with me Anubhav. In our last session, we talked about the concept of setting up our system as initial steps, which includes setting up the required configuration for a connection to the backend system in the Fiori frontend system, including RFC creation and system alias. We've seen how can we create a system alias and bind to the services. We talked about that this is the T code which we use to activate all the services in SAP system, which is the front end system. In today's session, I will start with basics of security, where you will learn about how can you create your first user which can give access to the Fiori Launchpad. So now let me just start with introduction of what is that we need to set up a system to give people access for Fiori Launchpad itself. So let me start with the services or Fiori Launchpad access. What is that you need to do to be able to give access to Fiori Launchpad to the business user? So there are two predominant services and transaction code which you need to activate or give access to the user to be able to access the Launchpad. So first let's understand the service which is used by Launchpad to run. So there are two services which are brought very important to be able to use the Launchpad for the end user point of view. First service is called /UI2. This is the namespace. All the services in this namespace are SAP standard services relevant for Fiori Launchpad and Launchpad Designer. So first called interop service. This is a service which is actually used by SAP Fiori Launchpad to for navigation purpose. So this service controls navigation from tile to the applications. So without this service is active, you will not be able to navigate from any tile to any application. Okay, so that's the first service which is used. The second service is called /UI2 slash page builder purse. Purse stands for personalization. So this is called Launchpad personalization service, and it is used to load all the tiles, groups of users, controls the loading of Launchpad content for our users. So as you know that you will work as a developer, as a security consultant, Fiori security consultant. So when a user login into the system, they will by default will not see any tile on their Launchpad. Why? Because of this service. This service is responsible for sending the groups, loading the groups and tiles on the screen of Launchpad. And if this service is not activated or not registered or not accessible, the user don't have authorization to access this service, user will not be able to open the Launchpad. So now what are all the following cases? So troubleshooting. If you see a unable to load group, let me just show you how it looks. Fiori enable to load groups. If I go back to images and if I show you the error, what kind of error will come? So if this error is coming to you in your SAP server, you're trying to load SAP Fiori Launchpad, and if you facing this error, this is the exact error which will come when this particular purse service is not active or the user doesn't have authorization to this OData service. So I will show you step by step how can you do all the necessary steps. So let's understand what are all the reasons why you get this error. So first reason could be the service is not even active. Yeah. The second reason, or the I would say first reason, is the service is not even registered. It's a fresh system. The service is not even registered. Yes. service is not even active, or you may not have authorization to access this service. These are all the different reasons why somebody would get this error, or somebody would not be able to even see SAP Fiori Launchpad. Very, very important thing to note, guys. This error, if you're seeing somebody complaining about, you are administrator, you should fix it. If somebody complain you about this error, immediately go and check this particular service, the second service. If they are not able to if they are not able to navigate to a tile, for to a app from a tile, this is the second service you need to check. What I wanted to do now, to be able to demonstrate this live in action, I will now start creating a fresh user. As a security guy, you will start with fresh user, step by step understand what works and what doesn't work. So getting started with a fresh user. So let me start with a brand new fresh user in the system. So step number one is we will create a new user in T code SU01. Guys, SU01, as you all know, as a security consultant or SAP consultant, is the transaction code in SAP server to manage users. So let me go back and show you. So if I go back, you can see this is my user SU01 T code. Now one warning, 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 warning. If you taken server from Anubhav trainings, we will not allow access to this T code. So make your conscious decision. This particular new user creation, you will not be able to practice in our server. Please take server from your own company if you want to practice this new user creation. We won't allow SU01 access at any cost. Okay, not at all. But I am showing you because I have special rights, privileges in my system. It's my own system. I can do anything, but you will not be allowed to access. So if you taking server access from us, you will not be able to create new user. You are not allowed. So don't complain back or ask for refund if we don't allow SU01 access. I'm clearly telling it upfront. This is the only thing you will not be able to practice in the server. Apart from it, everything you can practice in our server. Only SU01 related activities you will not be able to practice in our server. So now I'm going to create a new user. Let me name this user as, let's say, uh, a business user. I want to create a new user, and let's call our new user called Alex. So Alex is a person who have recently joined our company. He is a fresher out of college and he joined one of our company. Yes. So he is working in the business department. Okay. Role creation we will allow. Role creation we will allow. Okay. So that is something we will allow, but we will not allow you to create new user in our server because it's a licensed SAP server. And the moment we create a user, SAP will charge us. So we will not allow creation of a user. So now imagine you are working in a company as a Fiori security consultant, and there is a new user joined your company. His name is Alex. Okay. He is going to work in the sales department. So Alex is a human who just joined and is going to work in the sales representative. What is the job of a sales representative? Their job is to mainly talk to customers, bring orders, and close the deals. Send quotations to the customer. These are all the main work. Like if you ever watch or visit any mall, any shopping mall, you see there are a lot of people who are selling different stuff, right? So that's what exactly Alex is. So he has just joined the company. His name is Alex. We are now going to create a new user for Alex in the system. And then as Alex to work on SAP system, Alex needs to access certain amount of applications. Now before Alex start and join the company, he start accessing application. First, you need to access the Launchpad. So next step, what I will do is I will show you when Alex logins with the user, with his user in the system, the Alex won't be able to access Launchpad. Why? Because he will not be given access to transaction code. So first I will give him access to the transaction code for the Launchpad, yes, which is /n/UI2/FLP. This is the step number one we will do. Then as a next step, once Alex open Launchpad, he won't be able to see any tile. In fact, he will see an error called could not load the group, which I showed you on the last slide. Yeah, which means we will find out what is going wrong. So since it's a fresh system, the Fiori related services won't be active. So we will activate them, or we will register them first. Even after you register the services, what will happen? Alex don't have access to those services. So still Alex won't be able to see. So Alex will have further issues accessing the service because of authorization. So one part is you have activated the service. After activation, can somebody access that service? That is authorization. So we will grant authorization. We will create a role which we will grant access to Alex. Yes. So he will be able to go and open the Fiori Launchpad. Additionally, additional to that, basically we need to also grant the access of certain amount of authorization object to Alex so that he will be able to work with the system. So that is the whole process I wanted to demonstrate step by step to all of you. So what we will do is, so let me write down the steps what we will do as a Fiori security consultant. What is that you supposed to do step by step? So SAP make our life simple, and in this process SAP offers a existing template role which is having all the required information related to access of Launchpad. That's what SAP does. And this role is called SAP UI2 underscore user underscore 700. This is the role. You can also use latest NetWeaver role 750. Yeah, but I'll show you this later. But let's first see these steps. How do we achieve to give Alex the access? So now I will create a new user. So let me go back. I will create a new user Alex in the system. There's no user right now. You see I'm registering a free user. First user. I will delete this user after I will finish my work today. You will not find it in my system if you have access to my system, because even I am not allowed to create a user, but they allow me like for 1 hour during the class I can do so. Guys, SAP edit audit my license server anytime in a week. Every week they do audit. So during the audit, if they find I create a user without SAP's permission, they will sue me. Yeah, or they will levy heavy license fees from me. That is the reason we can't give, or we don't give access to people for the SU01, because if somebody create a user in SU01, it's a violation of SAP's guidelines against me, and then it will become a problem for my organization. The second reason is we are also not allowed to create new users without SAP's permission. Only SAP create new user and give it to us. It's a licensed software. That's why I'm not allowing you. Even though we found any one of you using some kind of tricks and creating new user, your existing user, whatever mob user you are using, will be suspended with immediate effect, and all your payment will be blocked. So you will even give away your current user. If we find that one of you tried to create a user in SU01 or some other trick, yeah, we will block your user permanently and all your payment will be dropped out. So be very careful. This is a important messaging. Don't create new user in this server. In fact, we don't allow SU01 access. You decide what you want to do, but we will not allow access, at least for creation of new user. You can do anything with your own user. PFCG access we will give you. So now let's create a new user, Alex. It's a fresh user just now. No access, no mean. SU01, not at all. Not any transaction related to SU01. I know what you're thinking, that I'll find an alternate transaction and do it. If you do it anyway, we will detect and we will block your user. Okay, so Alex Matthew. So he's a fresher or Mr. Let's say graduate sales representative. I will save this and now I will set a initial password. Let me set it. And I'll save it. Title is not a function. Let me remove this title. I will save it. Is it saved? Let me just check. Okay, so Alex is created. Let's log in using Alex now into the system. In my front end system, it asks a password change. I'll log in. So now I'm Alex. You can see I logged in as Alex. So till now is a fresh user, just joined the company as sales representative, have no access. If I go now and try to access Launchpad, what will happen? If I try to access Fiori Launchpad, what will happen? Anyone, can you guess? Will Alex be able to use it? No. If I enter, you see Alex perhaps won't be able to use the Fiori Launchpad. So Launchpad transaction is opening and you see, okay, I think somebody already registered the service again. I just kind of canceled it. Let me try accessing the Launchpad. I think there's a default role which is configured via GRC, which is giving access to Alex. So if I load the Launchpad, you'll see when I log in using user Alex, let's press F12 in the window, and now you see it's giving a lot of errors. You see a lot of errors are coming. Yeah, so he or she will not see anything actually. Okay, now as a security administrator in a fresh system, you need to find out and solve these issues. Yeah, you need to find out and solve all these issues. So basically you can go to network tab and check. You see all these red calls, and interestingly you find a red call. This is more important, called interop service, which I told you this is the first service which must be registered in your SAP server, otherwise it will give error. So now you see it is 403. It failed actually. If I double click, I will know why it failed. You see the service is not found in the namespace UI2 interop. The service itself is not found. Yeah, that's the error Alex is getting. It's a fresh system, moreover he's a fresh user. The second, if you see purse container, yeah, you see again interop service, so it's failing, and that's the main issue why nothing works in the system. Okay, so point one, no matter what you do, what authorization Alex has, Alex will not be able to see anything in the company. So first step is, as a security administrator, you need to go and now register the our service, interop service. So I go now to this T code IWFND main service, and now I will register the interop service. I click on add service, and here we will choose local because it's a embedded system. If this would have been a central hub scenario, then I would have chosen a backend system. And now if I just go and type here interop, enter, then I will find this service. It's not even registered. You can see I will just do a add selected service. And now very important step, every service which you register in your SAP server, it is recommended to give a package name. So the service must be assigned to a package, not local object. Otherwise, what will happen? You all know the SAP system landscape. We have the dev system, we have the Q system, quality system, where testers will test. And then we have the production system, where all the end users will use the system. Yes, PRD, production. So if you're registering a service in the dev system here, if you're registering the service in the dev system, the same service should be registered in quality and also in the production accordingly. Yes, so you are not allowed to directly work with quality in production to activate services. You have to register service in dev, put the service registration in a transport request, and release this transport request to the quality and subsequently to production, and then eventually the service will be registered in all three systems. You are not allowed to directly register services in quality and production except exceptional cases. Okay, so I will give a package name, let's say Z Anubhav SOH. I'll click on OK, and now I will give a transport request, let's say um, Launchpad service registration. I click on save and say OK. It is going to lock in a transport. If I release this transport, you see interop service is created and metadata is loaded. Click OK. Done. Next service was page underscore star. You can search wildcard search, and you see the one which we want is purse, page builder purse. This is the second service. I will activate, add, and let's say if I just have now interop service which is active. Yeah, let's see what happens now for LX. If I go back, I press F12, and now if I refresh, let's see, do we get the same error which we were getting for interop earlier? So I'm just refreshed my system, and you can see now again the interop has failed. Yes, if I double click on interop, you can see now it's a different error. Everybody, do you see a different error? Last time the error was service is not found under namespace /UI2. This time the error is what? Can anybody guess what is this error? The service is there now, but what is the error? Exactly.
Not added to the rule.
Yes. So first level is you didn't even have the service in your company, then nobody can access, nobody can run Launchpad actually in that case. But now the service is there, but this user LX doesn't have permission to that service. Let me now log in with a different user, my personal user Mob5 in the Launchpad, and see what happens. Does it work for me? So let me put my user. I log in, and now let's see what happens. If I log in using the Launchpad, it is also still not working. Is it failing an interop? Let me just check. I refresh and troubleshoot. So if you go up little bit and search for interop, maybe here, Control F, interop, you see the interop call actually had passed. For me, it is passing. I have interop access, the service which you just registered. I have access, but Alex don't have. So Alex is for Alex, for one user it's working, for another user it's not working. Certainly it's an authorization issue. That person doesn't have permission to access this service. So this is how you troubleshoot. You always go to F12 network tab. This we discussed in the past class. So now for actually for my user, I still don't see the tile. What's the reason? So if you see there is a red call here, and this one is because of this page builder service. You see page builder purse. This is a second service which I'm activating here. Yeah, this one, page builder purse. I don't have access to this page builder purse. Sorry, this service itself is not active. The service is failing. If I double click, you see no service found. So no service found issue means the service is not even ready, not even registered. Okay, so that's how you as a security administrator find out the issue. Is it the service itself is a problem, or is the authorization a problem? So for my user now, I see I have all permissions, but the service itself is not active, not registered. So let's register the second service. At least for my user, after this it should work. So I click on add selected service, and I again put my package, click OK, put the transport request, and the service will get registered. Fantastic. So now you see the second service, which was, I told you, the first service in the last section. This one is now registered. Okay, so that is why this issue comes, because of these two services. So first reason was the service was not even registered. So now for my user, if I check this call which was failing, if I double click, you see it's taking time. Perhaps this time it should give me some content out for my user, because I've logged in with my user. So it should perhaps give me some, at least something out, which is what I will now see. Okay, it's taking a lot of time. Obviously, it will take time because it returns all the tiles. In the meanwhile, let me refresh my Launchpad, and I should be able to see now all the tiles for my user. So my user is mob5 I'm using. So if you just check here the settings, you can see my user is anubhavtrainings.com user. Yeah, that's the username. So this is my user. In fact, I'll see in seconds my tiles will load fine, because my user, oh wow, you can see everything works. But will it still work for LX now? Anyone? If I go as LX user, will it still work for LX? No. You just saw for LX, it is a authorization issue. So how do we overcome this authorization issue? LX should get permission, right? So two users in same company, one person have permission, one person doesn't have permission. That could be the reason. So in general, let me tell you general rule now. If you ever see in your company there are two users, one user is able to access Launchpad, everything works. Second user is not able to access Launchpad in same system, nothing works for that user. It means certainly it is not service issue, it is authorization issue. You can troubleshoot the way I showed you today. So you can double click and see, you will get to know this issue, and that's how you can now proceed towards building a role. So now you saw this first case, the service what was even not registered. What happened? We already saw in troubleshoot, we activated the service, logged it in a transport, release the transport so that it also reaches to quality and production system in a fresh system. Second step is now the service. Sometime what happens, this also is a second important thing. Sometime what happens, somebody is bad guy, there are bad people in the system. What they do is, even the service is registered. So let me show you the service once again, the interop service. Let's say service is registered, it's green. But some bad people, or sometime knowingly, unknowingly, some people go and by mistake just deactivate this node. Okay. If you deactivate this node, again, my own user will have problems. So if you deactivate this node, watch out. I'll go back with my user, which was working fine. Just give me a second. Let me open my user again. If I go back and user login with my own user again, so let me deactivate the other one also, filter, page star. If I just go there and deactivate this as well. So I've deactivated now. So service is registered, but the node is deactivated. Somebody deactivated that. Okay. Now watch out. When I log in with my own user now, I just saw that everything was working. Tiles were loading, but again, you see the tiles are not loading. So sometime if you go and check, service is there, it is registered, but you still don't see the tiles because the ICF node was deactivated by somebody. Check this icon here. This is super important. This could be second reason why your tiles are not loading for any user. So if there is a deactivation of node or the service problem, it will not work for anyone in entire system. So let me activate the node again, and also for interop, which takes care of navigation, INTER, interop. Let me activate this, and if I now go and check, refresh, I should see now back my tiles on my user again, because now I've activated. So in general, thumb rule here, if nothing works for anyone in the entire system, problem is with service. Press F12, check the network call, see the service, which service is failing, activate and register that service properly. Okay. And then second reason, if someone is working, someone not, certainly it's an authorization issue for that particular user. Like in this case, for Anubhav user, everything works, but for LX user, it doesn't work. The certain reason is Alex don't have the permission. So what did we grant it to Anubhav user, which is not granted to Alex, which we will grant now. I'll show you that. So basically Alex don't have access to the service. The system has service, but Alex don't have access to the service. It will take time, guys. For my user, it will take time to load because there are a lot of application for my user which are there, and it's little slow. That's fine. But important is this Alex user who doesn't have now authorization. So let us see how can we give access to the user. So at this point, we will build a role. This thing you can practice in my company system, the system which we offer. PFCG is the T code. We will allow access, and here we will build a role. Now there are two ways. One, you build the role completely from scratch. Another way is you copy the role from SAP delivered role, this one. But I will show you first technique, which is the from basic from scratch, and then we will go little more advanced and see how to copy. So first let's come and build a new role. I say Z Anubhav underscore LPD access. I'm just creating a role. Now, is this how should we give role names? Is this the best practice? No, we should never do this. This is a dirty way of building role. Every company have certain guidelines to create roles. You have to follow naming convention. So my duty in this training is not just to teach you, but also teach you the guidelines. So the very first and important guidelines, guys, to build role, follow the naming convention which is set by your company, by your architect. So there's usually architect in every team. If there is no, then you can do that also. So usually the role name should follow certain naming conventions. So first, anyway, it's a custom role. So it start with Z or Y. Okay, that's the first thing. Then you will put here typically the team name. Yes, you will put the area name like finance, accounting, finance, HR, PP, FICO is already done, finance. So different roles, cross application. CA means cross application, something you're building which is not pertaining to one area. Yes. So this way you will put area name, then you'll put team name or the business purpose. Let's say, is it a sales accountant? Is it a sales representative? Is it a sales manager? Is it a sales supervisor? Okay, so this way you will choose the correct name. Okay, then you will put additional info like, is this role only for country specific or not? Sometimes you have country specific, plant specific, sales org specific, basically the org data, additional org data type. Like sometime we do underscore US, this role is only for US country, underscore DE, this is for Germany, underscore India, IN. So this could be one example. Then you can have other examples like, this role is for plant 1000 PLT, plant 1001, yes, underscore PLT, uh, underscore 1710, something like this. So depending on, make a decision, make a naming convention, make a good rule which actually helps your company in a long run to manage these roles properly. If you just create role with any random name, it will become very difficult for your company to manage roles in a long run. You have to have a good design document which talks about the naming convention. Sometime it can be like 20, 40, 50 character role name, but that should be proper. So that is how we use. Usually what I follow also is, if I'm creating a role, I put BR stands for business role. So if I'm creating a role for a business user, I create BR means business role, and then I will put all the type area and stuff like that. So let's see this. So I will go back and say ZBR business role underscore SD means sales and distribution area, and then I will say sales representative. But usually this is not a sales representative role. This is a role which I will give to anybody in the company who can access Launchpad. So this is cross area. Yes, Launchpad LPD role, LPD user role, something like this I would want to keep. Yes, or user, LPD user means Launchpad user role. So this is the role name. It's a good practice. If I follow this, anyone can read and understand this. So it's a role, business role, which is cross area, not specific to just one area. Launchpad means LPD. It's a user. He's not somebody who get this user can access Launchpad. They can't access Launchpad designer. Designer is the next concept, but just understand it's a user. Anyone who just joined the company should be given this role, who's the user who's going to use Fiori Launchpad. So that's what this meaning of this role now is. So our first role coming on the screen, this one I wanted to keep. Let me create this role, and now I wanted to give access. No authorization to create role. Okay, I have logged in with LX user only, so that's why I don't have authorization. Let me go back. So now I go with my user, guys, and I go to PFCG, and now here I will create a new role. Create a new role. You guys can do that in my server. So user role for Fiori Launchpad. Save. Go to menu, and now here we will grant permission to LX user for accessing service. So related to service, there are two types of permission. Any service has two parts. One is metadata of the service, which will give access to metadata of the service to read information what that service, how that service looks like. Second part is the content of the service. Content means the actual service access through which someone can access the service part. So these two are defined using IWSV, service metadata, and IWSG. Okay, so let me show you IWSV and IWSG for these two services. So let's go back, click on add authorization default, and now we will choose here IWSV. You see here service suite enablement and service group metadata. So I click here and I'll choose my service. My first service is star interop star F4. This is the first one. I'll choose IWSG, and then I will say star page star. I do F4, and I'm interested on page what is page builder purse. Yeah, this one IWSG. Okay, now click on OK. So these two I've added. Give copy, so that now given access to the service group metadata. You see service group metadata. Next is service server access. So again click, and now we will choose here service business suite enablement, and now again I choose star in drop star, and now you see IWSV, the service itself. So first one is metadata, second is service, and then again search star page page builder purse. So these two I need to grant access. So now I am building a role, guys. I'm building a role. Somebody who has this role can access these two services, both the service metadata and the service itself. Next is we need to also give access to our Launchpad transaction code. So come here and add transaction code. Just in case on a safer side, UI2/FLP, Fiori Launchpad T code access I'm also giving. Somebody who has this role can access Launchpad and these services as well. I'll save this. That's the first part. Next, we go to authorization and we click on change authorization data. Yes, and now you can see here the authorization objects relevant for those services are automatically preloaded. So you see the service hashtag values are preloaded here. Next step is to grant two special authorization objects also to the user manually. What are all those two required? Those two are required to actually access the classical tiles and as well as the tile groups. So let me just add that information as well here. What is that is needed? So you already talked about the service. So let me just move this down. So any service has two parts, this and this. We need to grant access of /UI2/interop service and /UI2/page builder personalization service. These two services we need to grant access. Okay. Next step is we need to allow visibility of type. Otherwise, tile won't be visible to the user. Okay. So visibility of tile, for which we will use a authorization object called UI2/chip and SBP chip. These are two authorization objects. Must also be assigned to the user through role. So let's do that. Let's add them one by one. So as a next step, I copy this, go back, add manually, add the first one, chip, and SBP chip. These are two manual authorization object you need to insert inside this. Okay, it's not there. Let me just check the correct name. I think it's SPB chip, not BP chip. I'm sorry. It's PB chip. So P and B, PB chip. And I go back and I just expand this and I will grant permission for full access of these two. Full authorization, full authorization. So user can see the classical UI tiles also. If at all there is a classical UI tile, the user can also access them. I will generate the profile and I go back. So now you can see the authorization profile is generated. So what is the authorization profile? Let's understand quickly, those who are new to the Fiori security or the SAP security world. Some of you are completely new. You never worked on SAP security. What is a profile? What is a role? What is a user? So basically, let's understand in SAP system how things work. So usually a user is there. Okay. He's a user. He's a human. Yes. To this user, we grant the roles. But when we grant the roles, the actual role will never give permission to the user. Okay. Role has nothing to do with permissions. A role contains something like authority object. We call it as auth object. This authority object contains authority field. There can be several fields. Okay. It contains authority fields. And these fields will have values associated. Okay. And these values are maintained at runtime. When you want to build a role, in that role you will maintain these values. Actually, that is what we just did. We put a star star there. That was the values of the fields. So a authority object has fields and that has values. And now we will create something called profiles. A profile is what actually contains those values. So fields are just templates, and these fields will be assigned values into profile. So until you create a profile, no access will be granted. Now, why do we need fields and profile values? Suppose there are two people, one working in US, one working in India. They both connecting to same ERP system, correct? Same system they are connecting, they are accessing our application. Now I want US person, when they access this app, they only should see US data, US sales data. When an Indian guy connects to the system, it's the same system, same database table where sales is stored. But the Indian user will see India sales data only, should not see US sales data. However, the CEO of the company, yes, CEO of the company, he should see all the data of India and US because he's a super user, he's the CEO. So how do you control this? That's why you need field. So when we create authorization, we create a field called country. And when we create a role, we will create 3 roles. And these 3 roles, each one will have different profile, profile 1, profile 2, profile 3. For profile 1, I will give the value as India, profile 2 US, and profile 3 star. Okay. So we will have role, and each role will have corresponding profile. Yes, so we will create three role. Each role has a profile and profile have the values. So same country field was there. For the same field, we had three different values and they were stored inside three different profiles. And eventually we got three roles created and that role is what we assign. So three roles, one role will assign to this one to this and one to this. So eventually they will get access according to the values. So star means everything. We will assign that to the CEO. He or she can see all the values of all countries, all sales data. Then P1 India will assign to Indian users in India, and then we assign US users to US people. So that way you will have something called values maintained, and these values will be maintained inside a profile. Profile will be attached to a role. So if you just create a role and assign a role, it has no impact until you have profile generated. Okay, so until you have a profile generated, this has no impact at all. Yeah, no impact, nothing. So profile will actually contain the values. So that's what I did just now. If you go back and see what I did just now, I went to the system. I have created a profile. You see profile name. If I go to this profile, then I see these authorization objects. So you see I told you about authorization objects. So if I go to PPT, you have authorization objects. So these are different authorization object, AAB, BCA. So these are object classes and that has authorization objects. This is authorization object. This is authorization object. And this authorization object has authorization fields. You see fields. And these fields we assign the values. Yeah. We assign the values to the field. Star means everything. Give all access, full access of this content. You see, for OData service, these are all the field values which we assign. So that is how it's structured, and eventually you have got a profile. Until you not add a profile to a role, this role is dead. It's inactive. It has no meaning. No matter whom you assign this, it is of no use. Is this part clear, everybody? The basics of how security works in SAP system. This part is clear, everyone? What is a role? What is a profile? Profile contains values comes for a field. The fields are maintained and they belongs to authorization object. So in a role you will add object will have fields and that will have values which you assign in a profile, and then that role you grant to the user, and then the user will be able to access. So now if I go back to the user tab and I'll say LX, I'll put my LX user, my friends. Yes, Alex Matthew, and I will say user compare. Now you see still red. Why? Because I have to click this button. Why this button? Why we use this is a certification question. Why we use user comparison button in SAP? Okay, understand this. So this user, maybe it is not guaranteed that this user has just one role. Maybe in the past this user has granted other roles. Yes, there were so many roles this user has already access to, but now we are giving a access of the new role also to this user. So what should happen is the old roles, the old profile access which was given before in the past to this user should not should not be overwritten, correct? It should go and add the new profile values to the old profile values. It should not overwrite or it should not disrupt anything which is, so it should never happen that I had access to something, I was given something new access and then my previous access is revoked. It should not happen, right? So system has to go back and compare the old profile access which was already granted in the past with the new profile access which you are trying to grant now. So that comparison system has to take care so that disruption won't happen. That's why we have this user compare button. Only then after clicking, the new profile value will be injected for the user. I click on it. Yes, full comparison and close. And now see it turns green. Congratulations, Alex has got permissions now. If I go back to Alex user, last time when I was running this service, I was getting no authorization issue. If I refresh, voila, it works. It gives response in the system. You have successfully solved the problem of Alex. If I refresh now, Alex will have access to the Fiori Launchpad now. So now you see the service which was failing for interop is no more failing. Of course, there are other services which are failing related to the Notification service. So this is another service. Again, it's an authorization issue. If you double click, you see it doesn't have authorization to the next service, which is notification service. And that's why you will not be able to get notification. You see error occurs when this LX user tries to click the notification button, an error was coming. You see the error comes. That is because he don't have access to notification service. Similarly, we will check, we will troubleshoot, and we will grant access to all those required services to LX through the role. But the problem is, likewise, you can have, let's say, 10 service, 20 service. In future, some more services will come. So how it will become so difficult for you to anticipate what's, because you have to go check every user, press F12, go debug, find out, right? Becomes very difficult. What is our weapon to speed up this process? How can you as a developer, as a security consultant, quickly develop a role for a user? And that's where the concept comes of this standard role given by SAP. So SAP make our life simple. They give an existing template role. Template means iska copy banana. You have to make a copy of it. Don't use it as it is. Remember, a role without profile is useless. So this is a template role given by SAP. Let me open this. It's there in every latest system. You can also do a search here by this part, copy, go back and just put here star F4. And you see here 700, 750. 750 is latest for NetWeaver 750. 700 is older one. So you should ideally open 700. 750 also I can open and show. So you will see in this role menu, see there is no user assigned, there is no authorization, there is no profile. So if I assign this role to a user, will it work? If I assign this to Alex, will it work out of the box? If I just go and assign this role to the Alex user, will it cause any impact? Will it cause anything extra? No, because until a profile and the values are granted, it's a dead role. It's just a template. Template means make a copy of it to speed up your work. So this role, if you see, it has no interop service, nothing. But if I go to the role 700, which is the base role, it's again a template role. You will see the menu, and now you see the interop service, the launchpad service, the page builder purge service, and the easy menu access and user menu access, and the launchpad T code access. So all these things are pre-built by SAP. SAP gives you this out of the box actually. So it is recommended practice to make a copy of this role and then add all the things on top, whatever you need. And then you will adapt the role according to your need and generate the profile and assign. So the process is, we will use this role 700. Yes, make a copy, add the necessary. So if you see, it already includes service metadata, service definition part, IWSV, but IWSG is missing. That you have to add after making a copy. So let me go back and make a copy. There's a copy button, and now I can say Z SAP UI user 700, copy all. Okay, it's already there. I can just copy, and after I copy, I can go inside, and here I will just go ahead and add IWSG. So SV is already there. You just add IWSG, the service metadata part. So if you go to IWSG and search for interop and page builder, yes, copy. Okay, sorry, I think I have to search it. Don't use it directly. So use star page F4 IW purse, enter, and then here this should be interop IWSG. You can see here IWSG you need to assign two parts of any service. So F4, here it is. Okay, copy. So that makes your life more easy. And then you see authorization, I just have to change yes, and then I will just regenerate the profile. I can go back. I can now grant this to the user Alex. This made my life more easy. I don't have to remember too many things. If I forget also the service name, don't worry. Don't have to troubleshoot. Just copy this template role, which is given by SAP. It starts with SAP UI2 user 700 certification question, interview question, which is the template role given by SAP for creating a launchpad user. Can anybody tell me the answer? What is the standard SAP role, template role given by SAP to you to create a Launchpad user? Anyone? SAP UI2 user 700 is the role name. याद रखोगे ना, भूल तो नहीं जाओगे? Certification question, very important certification question. It is 100% going to come in interview. If you're going Fiori security interview, 100% interview question, 100% certification question. This is the template role which we use to copy to create a user role for Launchpad. So make a copy, add necessary IWSG for interop and page builder purse service, create profile, assign to user and test using that user. You will not have any problem. It will load the launchpad for the user. So till now, just the launchpad adding is done. So user can now access the launchpad. Okay. Your user can now access the launchpad, but tiles are not there. Why? Why this LX user, which I'm running, if you go and check user, the name is Alex Matthew. Why Alex is not able to see any app here? Anyone? Why Alex is not able to see any app? Any application? Yes, because app के लिए अलग permission चाहिए. He's a sales guy, he's a sales representative. What he will do? Yes, he will create now sales order, he will create sales quotations, yes, sales order, invoices, he will do dunning, yes, all those things. Whatever he need, like what a people do in a bank. If you get a given bank PO exam, if you become a bank officer, what is your job? Calling customer, opening bank account, yes, depositing money, withdrawing cash, yes, all those kind of things. Yes, so only shell access is given. Fantastic, exactly. Only the launchpad का access मिला है अभी, app का access नहीं दिया. We didn't give the app access. That's why no app is visible yet to the user. So that is the first milestone we have achieved. The first step is starting with a fresh user, fresh system, absolutely new system. How does your user will get access for the launchpad? App access will be the next subsequent step. Okay, so this is now a user. Remember, it's a user, it's a business user who is just going to be a business user, means he's an end user, your end user who is going to use software. Okay, that is what we did. In the next class, first I'll show you how do you create user for yourself, because you also need a user, right? So that you can build the launchpad. Then in the next step, we'll build the launchpad, and then we will grant access to the app for the apps to the user eventually. So that is what we'll do step by step. That's the end of today's session. Time for your questions. We will go super slow to the next class later on. Okay, questions.
Yeah, hi Anubhav.
Mhm.
I have a question related to the scenario where you said at the fields and values level, we can have country specific users who could see data only, for example, India or US.
Mhm.
How is that controlled from fields actually, which is within the auth object?
Okay, that's something you can join my ABAP on HANA training, because there we have learned CDS view and a DCL concept and authorization field and authority object to control that. You have to subscribe my ABAP on HANA training to learn that kind of concept, because that's application development. That's part of application development.
And that's given to security team to add the field and values inside the auth object.
Yes, so a BAP developer first build CDS view, then they will build DCL, they will use the fields, they will create authorization class, authority field, put the authority field, put the authority class, put it together in a DCL, secure the CDS, and then create a template role and give it to you. And then you as a security consultant will grant that. Let me show you one role which I've already built for that in my last batch with the BAP on HANA. So we have created a role here for business partner US, United States. So those who will access this particular role, they can only see data for US customers. So if you go to authorization, we have built a profile already, and here we had used actually a country field. Yes, country field to US, display authorization, and somebody who has this role assigned, they will be able to access only the data for US country for business partners. So please join my ABAP on HANA training to understand. Remember, to become a full stack SAP developer or architect, you need to take 3 trainings from my website: UI5 Fiori development training, ABAP on HANA training, and Fiori security training with Fiori Advanced, Fiori on Cloud. These 3 trainings are utmost necessity if you want to become full stack developer, end to end. If you want to become, if you don't want to become end to end, just wanted to stay on security, your choice.
So, Anubhav, just now you have shown that we are providing the authorization values over here. So, are they going to be consumed on the CDS level? Like this
Yes,
authorization object, we are
yes,
okay. The CDS is having that access to the Fiori
yes.
because we are creating this object over here, and CDS is been
No,
on the
this is
HANA
a
layer.
role created for the CDS DCL. It has nothing to do with Fiori.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, this is an embedded system. Okay, got it.
Mhm.
So, I got my answer. At the moment, what we are doing is that we are giving and star access to the all the business user for all the OData services, and we are just assigning the catalogs and the groups to the user. Is that suggestible, or from security perspective, will it be
Let's
a issue?
not go into groups right now because we didn't even talk about groups yet. So we just
No,
looked
no,
at
but
today.
providing a star access on the OData services is,
No, we
as a
didn't
let's
do
say that we
OData
have
star
created.
access. If we go back again, you didn't notice, then it means what we did. We did not give star access on OData. If you go back to the profile, just check the OData part. So you see S service is the authorization object for OData services. The service name is the GUIDs of the interop service, page builder service, per service. It's not star here. We are not giving access to all the OData service, which means if I just show you one OData service I built last week, this is a service I will be able to access with my user. But when I access the same service with LX user, LX, LX will not have authorization to this.
Yeah, yeah, that's
We
correct.
didn't give a
I
full
think
access to services, not at all. You didn't pay attention to this part then.
no, but at the moment our security consultant has given a star over here. So
No,
is that a issue from security perspective?
if you give star here, then means that person can access all the services in entire SAP system. And that means
Mhm.
if there is a service which is giving a data, sensitive data to a HR application for salary, that person can go and find the that service which is giving sensitive salary data, and that can hit the service and read the salary of a person.
Yeah, that's correct. But ideally, they are saying that they are controlling the authorizations on the backend on the S4 system. So even though if they provide a star over here, they will be able to hit the service, but service the second level of authorization is on the backend system. So the backend system, if he is not having the authorization to get the data, then the service will be blocked over there.
Okay, so guys, first golden rule of security: users should have as minimal as possible authorizations to perform their job. This is what the first principle we teach in security training. किसी को उतना ही authorization दो जितना उसको चाहिए, minimum as possible to do their job. So at first level, you have already bypassed, you allowed him to breach the security at level 1. But ideally क्या होना
Yeah.
चाहिए? Level 1 should be more stronger than other levels. Putting a star
Yeah,
there, you already allowed him to bypass the level 1. And by chance, if
yeah,
level
that's
2
good.
is crossed, then it's gone.
That's correct.
Right.
And I'm having one question with respect to the interop system alias. So, in case of central hub or the embedded, the system alias should be the backend or
No,
it
it will
should be local?
always be the local, because the interop service and page builder services are always in the front end system. They are never in the backend
Mhm.
system because they are the Launchpad service, and Launchpad itself is in the front end system. So these are the services which runs the Launchpad. So they will always be registered against local.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'm having a question with respect to the services when we have seen that page builder. So page builder service is also having customized cust and com.
We
So
will come
is
to
that
that
related to the
tomorrow's session.
Launchpad designer?
Tomorrow's session.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So again, just to repeat everyone, if you are using my system, we will not allow you to create a new user at all. Don't ask us SU01 access also after taking user. We will shift delete your email. There will be no response of such emails or which are asking for SU01 access. I already told you the reason. We cannot give SU01 access at all to anybody in the system. So my humble request, you can practice everything except the creation of new user. We can't allow, it's a licensed software, so it is not possible for me to give access to SU01. You can't even be able to use a workaround also. If you use it and if they detect, they will terminate your user permanently. Okay, that's it for the day. See you tomorrow. Nice day.